Welcome back, guys. Just wanted to do a quick little first impressions of a Witchfire, which just released into early access on Steam today. So, what are we thinking? What do we like? What do we dislike? And I'm gonna have to say right up front, I am really liking this game. I'm only on the first island. Currently, there are 3 available in early access, with 2 unknown locations coming later in the future, and then 2 other known locations that will be, I'm assuming, rolled out, with preceding updates. So when you first get in, you're going to be picking a class, and think of this class system similar to Dark Souls and how Dark Souls does their class system. Starting abilities vary, starting weapons vary as well, and then the stats also differ. And then your last one, which you're seeing right here, is kind of your naked class, so to speak. You'll find yourself into a tutorial, which really cool how they set up the tutorial. You can actually choose to ignore it if you want completely. But there's little lore bits hanging around throughout this hub world. I can't remember the name of the location, but it's your base of operations. You'll be able to make potions, research weapons, research new spells, and other different things. You'll also be able to upgrade your weapons and other things that are there currently. And there's also some secrets there as well, which I'm not going to spoil for you. But so once you get through your tutorial, you're going to be heading through the portal, and this will be your gameplay loop. You'll be heading to one of these islands. Starting out, you only have access to one island until you progress and unlock the other 2 islands. But you'll be heading to one of these islands, and you'll be killing the mobs that are on this island. You can open up your map with M, and it'll display all of the locations of these mobs. And they change every time you go into the map. They're not always in the same location, and each mob is scaled differently. So it shows you on the map based on the skulls, the way the skulls look, if those are, lesser enemies or heavier enemies or harder enemies. So you can kind of pick and choose which way you want to go, depending on, what you're trying to do when you go into the island that time. If you're just trying to grind low mobs or grind high mobs, it's up to you. There's also treasure chests on this island, and those also switch locations every time you come in. So nothing's really the same. The only thing that is the same is kind of your main objective of the island, which is, if you look on this map, that centerpiece for this island, the Island of the Damned, it would be the Wailing Tower. And there are some things you have to do in order to get into that location, which I'm not going to spoil here. It's a spoiler-free first impressions. I have not made it to the other 2 islands. This is a first impressions. I've done about 5 or 6 different runs. And so far, what I'm seeing is the gunplay is really smooth. It's really fluid. The movement is smooth and fluid as well. The shots feel impactful. The animations are really well done. And coming from, being an animator myself, it's something I do pay attention to a lot. And I'm really enjoying this game. The feel of everything, it just feels good. Feels good to play. And that's a huge thing for me. It's got to feel good. But on top of that, the world that they've created, and this is only the first island, it's very immersive. And I find myself playing this and not even thinking about really what I'm doing too much or like what I need to do. I'm just like walking around, exploring, taking out enemies. And because they randomize the spawn locations of these enemies and the difficulty, it's nice to just be moving around, and then all of a sudden, oh shit, there's a massive pack of guys and these guys are fucking me up. And you take them out and you just keep on moving. But that's kind of your gameplay loop. It's going to be going onto the island, killing the enemies, grabbing Witchfire, which is the equivalent to Souls and Dark Souls. If you've played Dark Souls, you're going to be grabbing Witchfire. There's a lot of Souls inspiration in this, but that Witchfire is going to be used to upgrade your stats, as in Dark Souls. But you can do that once you get back to your base. And as you'll see right here, once you kill a mob, they'll drop a big crystal and you can get Arcana. So this is the roguelike aspect, and you'll be able to choose between 3 of these buffs. You'll choose one of 3 of those buffs, and every mob you kill, you can add a new buff, and they're randomized, so they're not always the same. And as you saw in that, one of those has a feather. So In order to get the feathers, you have to find one of the chests that it will give you the feathers, and you can use the feathers. If you don't like the other two arcanas that are shown, use the feathers for a random third. So there's how that works. But there's different bits of lore scattered throughout this island, which I really enjoy, because you find it, you unlock it, and then you can read about it. Like, it adds so much more depth to the world, and I find myself just getting really immersed in this world. And so far, the only negative that I would have to say about this, and it's such a very minor thing since it is an early access, the only negative I'm really finding is there is some hitching in performance. So it's not always, and it's very few and far between so far that I've noticed. There'll be a slight frame drop here and there. It's only happened to me once during combat, and it made me miss a shot. But it's like I said, it's early access. It's something very minor, something that they can easily fix with some optimization. Other than that, the game runs great. Other than that, small FPS drop every now and again. It's not always happening. It's just once in a while. So one other thing that I would like to mention, there are a lot of things to do in this game right now. So yes, you have your first island, you have your total of 3 islands. I've only made it to 1. But on top of that, and just going back to the island and killing mobs and gaining Witchfire and upgrading your abilities, you also have research projects and spells. So you can research weapons, and you can research new spells and other different things. There's a lot. And you can research 2 projects at the same time, and those projects take time to unlock, but the time passes as you're grinding on these islands. So depending on how long you stay on the island, depends on how much time has passed for that project to be completed. And you can check that status while you're on the island itself. So that's pretty cool. So there's a form of progression right there. And then your other form of progression would be each weapon has its own challenges. So when you get the weapon, you'll see at the bottom, it has a challenge, kill so many enemies. So you do that. And then once you've completed that, you can then upgrade that weapon. And then you get another set of challenges. So far, I've only seen two tiers of challenges because I haven't completed the second tier yet. So I'm not sure how many tiers of challenges you will be able to get for each weapon. But that's another thing to grind towards as well. So there's a lot of stuff going on in here. And so far, I'm really enjoying it. And I will be doing a playthrough. So you can watch that playthrough if you would like to, if you're enjoying or interested in Witchfire. I would love to have you. So yeah, I hope everybody enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like, and look forward to making more content for you guys. Thanks.